You guys doing today? Christian Yetke here again. Hey, so I wanted to talk a little bit about, your routine, how you're going to be taking about your everyday life and what you're going to be doing with it and how you can build that routine, how you can change your routine, how you can build discipline through consistency and delayed gratification, all those good things. So that was kind of the idea of today's video. And I want to start off with a few quotes, as always, because I love them. And so, for one, we have Alexander the Great. He says, "There is nothing impossible to him who will try." We got Thomas Jefferson, "A strong body makes the mind strong." Thomas Jefferson again, "If you want something you've never had, you must be willing to do something you've never done." We got Viktor Frankl, "When a person can't find a deep sense of meaning, they distract themselves with pleasure." Voltaire it says, "The more I read, the more I acquire, the more certain I am that I know nothing." I feel that. We got William Jones, who says the greatest discovery by generation is that a human being can alter his life by altering his attitudes. And then there's this Latin phrase. I'm pretty sure I'm going to butcher this, but it goes "instir quiniquis invenitar," which means like in the filth that will be found. And it's saying that what we are most looking for in life is going to be found where we least want to look, because the greatest things come from the worst of situations, the worst of what could be going on in life. Whenever you hear any kind of story or anyone's like life story, whether it's you're listening to Hollywood people and they talk about coming from nothing and becoming Hollywood or NBA or whatever that stuff is, or you listen to someone's testimony and they talk about how they actually found Christ, but it wasn't until they were at their most bottom, rock bottom, and then found out that rock bottom actually had a basement door, and then they fell down there. So, so the greatest things in life come from the hardest of situations, the worst of times, the most challenging of life's possibilities. And that's when people can actually find out who they are and the best them that they can be. Because unfortunately, the hard truth is that the challenges, the difficulties in life, those are what make us us. Those are what build our character. You can't build a good character by having everything easy, your way, whenever you want it, simplistic. It comes whenever it's hard, when it challenges you, when it pushes you, whenever it makes you have to find out who you are, who you want to be, and you work to become that. So, anyways, today's idea was I think it's pretty simple. I mean, granted, Lord knows I could go on for hours about it, but the basic simple idea behind it is that you can change who you are and what you want to do, what you want to be, what you have interests in. You can change those as you go in life. We never are fully our most developed, intellectually capable, you know, full self until, until like probably the very end of whenever we die. Old age. Hopefully it's that point. But but we always learn, we always grow, we always find out more new information. We can eventually not know that we want this one thing and then life goes on and then we eventually like it. Or we could go, I don't actually like that thing, that sport, that food, that whatever the case is. You never really know who you are until you've lived enough life and you try different things. I know for me that I've gone in a few different situations of, thinking, oh, I don't like this thing. I absolutely hate it. And then years down the road, I've been like, you know what? That's interesting. Let me try it again. Oh, I actually do like this. Because, you just don't know a whole lot when you're younger. And you have to experience a few things to know what you do like, don't like, and what you're looking for, what interests you, and things of the nature. So some examples for me is going to be like, you know, my dad and older sister are entrepreneurs, and I never thought that was my thing until just a couple years ago. Then I learned a little bit about it, and I was like, okay, maybe I can do this thing. And I've spent the past couple of years working on that, and now I'm at the point I'm like, okay, this is my thing. Now I understand it. Now I really like this and I can adjust it in a way that works for me. And that's gone with like many aspects of life. I remember when I was a little kid, when things were hard, and I was like, "Oh no, I don't want to do that." I think I remember I was like 4 or 5, and some of my older siblings were we're doing karate, and man, I was like, I want to do that. And then I have one of these very vivid memories where I was talking with the karate teacher or whatever it was, and I was like, I want a gi, I want the belt and everything, and they're like, yeah, that's not how that works. And I remember like I think we were just doing jumping jacks and push-ups maybe, and I only did a couple of them, but I was tired, and I was like, oh, I don't want to do this anymore. Like I'm tired. And I remember quitting. And granted, I was only a couple of years old, but still, it's that same mindset, that same mentality of we think we want something and we try it, but when things get a little bit harder, then we think, okay, you know what, maybe this thing that I might not entirely know or understand yet, it's probably not as all cracked up to be. So since it's a little bit tough, I'm gonna pull back and not do it. So it's that kind of thought process, again, overall mindset about how we go about life and how can we change our mindset of, you know what, yeah, this is uncomfortable, but if it was easy, would it be worth it? If it was fast, would I really enjoy it? Would I be able to have that journey, that being able to take it one step at a time, not knowing what's going to come next, and just living life, learning, growing, building who I am. So how can we work on all this in this kind of way and change our habits? Just because we wake up at 10 o'clock or noon or something every day doesn't mean that we're always going to. You can start waking up earlier and going to bed earlier, and your body will adapt. You can stop eating crap food and start eating healthy, and your body will thank you for one, and you'll adapt. But anyways, just the idea for today was just that simple thing of changing how you do things, changing your mindset, changing your routines of what you do. Incorporate one thing at a time. Wake up earlier, set a time. Maybe you start waking up earlier and earlier. Say you get up at 7, and you're like, today I'm getting up at 6, and then next time I'm getting up at 5. I get up at 5. I'm gonna go read the Bible. I'm gonna go to the gym. I'm gonna eat healthy. I'm gonna read that book that teaches me. I'm gonna go to work, and I'm gonna spend time with good friends and learn and build and grow. And it's going to keep adapting and growing over time, but you have to start somewhere. Anyways, that was just a simple idea I wanted to get out today. Hope that helps. Yeah, bless one.